The internet is dead. It doesn't exist. It stopped existing 5 years ago. Now, these past few years, there's been an insane amount of conspiracy theories, but one of them might actually be true, and oh, it's a good one. It's known as the dead internet theory. Now, according to this theory, sometime between 2016 and 2017, the internet as you know it was replaced with a fake, a fraud, a simulacra, and all the people you see posting to social media, they aren't real at all. And to go even further, you might not be completely real either and just don't know it. But you can check to see if you are. So you might be thinking, that's crazy. What do you mean the internet's fake? What do you mean the people aren't real? And of course I know I'm real. Hold on, don't worry. I'm going to explain all of it right now and show you how you can check for yourself. Hey guys, my name is Morgue, and instead of advertising some sponsor, I want to thank you. My content is controversial and I can continue to create only because of your support. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the video, and consider supporting on Patreon so we can continue to open minds and spread this information across the world. To really understand the dead internet theory, let's take a little look at something called .io games and fake multiplayer. .io games are usually really simple, designed to be addicting to play and easy to learn. You run around collecting items or punching enemies or whatever. But the fun of .io games is that you get to play with other people, real players just like you from all over the world. But there was one problem. So let's say that you created a game, you're a game developer, and it's brand new, you're very proud of it, so you release it to the world. And so someone logs in to play. Well, unless you're a famous game developer, odds are you're not gonna have a huge audience. So that person who logs in to play, they're gonna be alone. They're gonna be the only person playing. Well, that's a huge problem if your game depends on multiplayer. The person that's playing is going to see that no one else is playing and quit. So your game won't get popular and you'll have a very short-lived career as a developer. The developers came up with a solution. So what they would do is put bots in the game. Now, I'm sure that you've heard of bots. These are fake enemies, computer-controlled AI that take the place of real people. Now, this is nothing new. Computer-controlled enemies, bots, are put into games all the time. But you know that you're playing against computer-controlled enemies and not real people. The difference here is that .io games didn't tell people that the bots were bots. In fact, they went out of their way to trick people into thinking the bots were real by, for example, giving them usernames. The thinking was that if a new game had fake players in it, real players would join and have fun. The game would get popular and more real players would start to play. Then eventually you wouldn't need the bots anymore. You could get rid of the bots and you'd have a successful game filled with real players. Good idea, right? Except that's not what happened. Developers thought, if I'm making a multiplayer game where the player thinks they're playing against real people, but they're actually playing against bots, why not just make a single player game, populate it with bots, and just trick people into thinking that it's a multiplayer game? Well, all right, you might be thinking, why would the developers do this? Well, a fake multiplayer game that's actually single player and filled with bots is much cheaper to develop and it's easier to code than an actual multiplayer game. So that's exactly what they did. Some of these games are extremely clever in tricking the player into thinking that it's a multiplayer game by having waiting screens where the game is connecting and searching for servers. And some even go so far as to tell you the internet connection was lost and disconnect you from the game if you turn off the Wi-Fi. Even though it's completely single player, you don't need to connect to a server or have an internet connection of any kind. Well, this worked. The games were fun to play, were wildly popular, and most people thought they were playing with real people all around the world. Now, eventually some people figured out many .io games weren't really multiplayer, but tons of people still fall for it, and they're extremely popular. .io games trick people into thinking they're playing with others, but in truth, they're all alone. If people are enjoying the game, does it matter if it's a truth or a lie? If the simulation is just as convincing as reality, does it matter if it's reality or an illusion? What is real? How do you define real? According to dead internet theory, something very similar happened to the internet. The claim of dead internet theory is that the internet, as an interconnected platform filled with user-created content, died years ago. That the vast majority of the users were replaced with bots, and the content that you consume, like websites, blogs, and articles, they're generated by artificial intelligence. The internet, according to this theory, is now very similar to a .io game, where you think you're interacting with real people, reading their posts and updates, and enjoying content created by humans, but it's all bots, algorithms, and AI. Now, of course, some of the people aren't bots. You can, of course, call up your friends and check, but the claim is that the vast majority of them are, and most of the content is generated by AI, that the internet is now a hollow shell filled with fakes. The exceptions are a group of influencers that are in on the secret, along with certain corporations and the government. Well, what's the point? To control your thoughts and to get you to mindlessly consume products and influence your choices so that events will play out according to their will. To them, you are nothing but a battery trapped in a world of illusions. Just like bots were originally introduced into .io games to influence the players into thinking the game was popular, so they'd stay and play, but no real people were actually there. Corporations and the government have created a fake internet filled with fake people and fake content to get you to think how they want you to. But it goes deeper than that, as I'll show you towards the end, because you might not be real either, which might sound crazy, but I'll show you how you can check. But first, we need to look at dead internet theory. The question is dead internet theory true? The answer is frightening, because it's not far from the truth. Of course, it's not as extreme as the theory claims, but bots haven't completely taken over, right? Well, let's look at something called the inversion. What is the inversion? See, the internet is full of fakes. People buy fake accounts, fake likes, fake views, fake subscribers, fake everything. Now, why do they do this? To influence you, just like .io games used fake players to influence people into thinking the game was popular. People are much more likely to watch a video if it has millions of views and tons of likes, and they're much more likely to subscribe to a channel that already has millions of subscribers. Your favorite celebrity, music video, or channel, there's a good chance that a lot of their followers or likes are fake, bought and paid for. If you want to become a celebrity, there are even many companies out there that will create an army of bots to pretend to be your fans. And I just don't mean through likes and comments, but they'll create entire fake accounts, fan pages dedicated to you. So the question is, can you tell what's real and what's fake? You probably think you can. Well, the inversion is the point where the fake seems real and the real seems fake. Now, you might think that that would be impossible, but YouTube feared an inversion event in 2013. See, in 2013, YouTube reportedly had almost as many bots as real people. And they feared that if the percentage of bots kept increasing, YouTube's algorithm would think that the bots were humans and the humans were bots, and then start to organize YouTube according to the bots' activity instead of the humans. Essentially, YouTube's algorithm would think the bots were the real audience. Now, just for a minute, think about the irony here. All of this is a battle between an algorithm and an army of bots. Fakes versus fakes, with humans fading out of the picture. Luckily, with human intervention, YouTube was able to purge the majority of the bots and stop the inversion. On their platform, at least. See, a long time has passed since 2013, and some believe that the inversion has already occurred across the entire internet. Have you ever been tricked into thinking that a fake account was real? Or questioned if a real account was actually a bot? You've probably seen your favorite influencer complaining about a bot that's impersonating them, and their fans actually start falling for it and following that fake account. In a 2018 article, the New York Times wrote, "In November, Facebook disclosed to investors that it had at least twice as many fake users as it previously estimated, indicating that up to 60 million automated accounts may roam the world's largest social media platform. These fake accounts, known as bots, can help sway advertising audiences and reshape political debates. They can defraud businesses and ruin reputations." Max Reed, who wrote an article for New York Magazine, believes the inversion occurred across across the internet in 2018. Here's a clip from Ari Shapiro, NPR host, interviewing Reed.
So let's start with a term that I learned from your article, the inversion. What is the inversion?
The inversion is the point at which there's so much fakery going on that our natural ability to tell the difference between what's real and what's fake becomes inverted. And real things all of a sudden seem totally fake to us, and fake things have this sort of power and the presence of the real.
And as you write in this article, the internet might have actually passed the inversion in some ways years ago, but you say that 2018 felt to you like the year that we passed the inversion.
Every day, people are tricked by bots and fake accounts. If you've been fooled by a bot or almost fooled by a bot before, how do you know you're not being fooled all the time and just don't know it? Have you ever thought someone was a bot only to find out that they were actually real? Rami Assed, founder of a cybersecurity company, said, "Social media is a virtual world that is filled with half bots, half real people. You can't take any tweet at face value, and not everything is what it seems." Not only is there an army of fake accounts and fake people, but now advertisements, emails, and even websites can be generated by AI, all designed to manipulate you into purchasing products. Hell, every time you enter a CAPTCHA, you're ironically enough proving to a computer that you're not a computer. But this gets even more nefarious because it doesn't stop at influencing you to buy products or follow a celebrity, but it goes so far as to shape world events. In 2017, the BBC reported that Prime Minister Theresa May has accused Russia of planting fake stories online as part of a campaign of cyber espionage and disruption. Her comments come after prominent social media accounts were exposed as Russian bots. Russian troll farms are comprised of either bots or real people whose job is to spread disinformation and division. They'll post disinformation or insert themselves into debates and post comments to sort of fan the flames and cause division and start arguments. They purposely do this to get people on social media to argue with each other in a divide and conquer strategy. Have you ever gotten into a heated debate with a stranger over a controversial issue on the internet? That might have been completely fake. Because it's not just bots creating fake content, but sometimes real people. China reportedly paid trolls to spread disinformation and sway public opinion in China by trolling political opponents and derailing conversations that were critical of the Chinese government. Now, while all of this doesn't go quite so far as the dead internet theory claims, that is, the internet isn't nearly empty and almost completely devoid of people, and it's not part of some overarching master plan coordinated by the government. But the true state of the internet is shockingly close to the theory, filled with bots, AI-generated websites, AI-generated ads, algorithms that control our lives, fake accounts to influence you to buy products, and hired trolls by governments to influence the population. The inversion is right around the corner. Can you tell what's real? Are you sure? Or has the inversion already happened? But the question is, in such a fake place, are you real? Well, you're about to find out, because everything we've been talking up to this point has been about the dead internet theory. But really, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're going beyond that now. See, your phone and social media profiles are an extension of you. You create profiles to reflect who you are, and you use them to interact with your friends, chat with coworkers, watch videos, hook up, and hell, you get it, just about everything. If you've ever forgotten your phone, you probably felt naked or like your arm was missing, that just a part of you was gone. Well, just like your phone and social media profiles are an extension and reflection of you, the internet as a whole is an extension and reflection of the entire planet. That is, the world community. Since the internet is an extension of the planet, the community, and so much of the internet is fake, could that just be a symptom of a fake planet? That brings us to what I call dead planet theory, except this one, it's not a theory. Dead planet theory says that the vast majority of the people on the planet, they're not real. And I made this video because I want to know if you're real. Let me explain. Consciousness makes up only a tiny fraction of the mind. The vast majority of the psyche is the unconscious, and Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung is famous for unearthing the vast complexity of the unconscious mind as a system of interacting structures. The unconscious is like a program that runs in the background, controlling people's lives, and they're completely unaware of it. Just like a bot follows a program, most people today are barely aware at all, following their unconscious programming. Here's an example. Have you ever been driving to work and your mind starts to wander? You start thinking about what you're going to do on the weekend or what you're going to get for dinner, and suddenly you realize you're at work. You don't really know how you got there. Now, I don't mean you blacked out or something, but you weren't really paying attention to driving at all. Somehow you were able to navigate to work without even thinking about it. That's an example of your unconscious at work. Your unconscious is constantly engaging in complex calculations 24/7. Sleepwalking is another example. Now, there are accounts of people sleepwalking where they get in their car, drive around for a while, come back home, park, and go back to bed, all while being fast asleep. For most people, their minds behave unconsciously, very much like a bot or an algorithm. And most people today have been transformed into bots. That is, they are largely run by their unconscious programming instead of exhibiting true conscious free will. In other words, they've been brainwashed. Have you ever felt alone, even in a crowd, like you were the only one actually conscious? But the real question is, have you been brainwashed? Have you been programmed? Now, you might think that's crazy, but it wouldn't be very good brainwashing if you knew you were brainwashed, would it? But you can check to see if you are. See, just like .io games surround the player with bots to influence them, and governments cultivate troll farms to shape public opinion, from the moment you're born, you're surrounded by people, institutions, and a culture intent on shaping, molding, and programming you into another unconscious bot. From your parents to family, friends, teachers, religion, the TV, apps, social media, all bombarding you since birth. Most people don't stand a chance. These external informational forces have determined your beliefs, morals, fears, hopes, and your dreams. Almost your entire personality is dictated by this base programming instilled in you by others, which ultimately determines your personality and life choices, which means you're not based on you at all, but on outside influences. So do you want to find out if you're real? If you're operating by your own free will, instead of operating by a program instilled in you by a sick brainwashing culture? Well, here are 5 types of people, and I want you to be honest with yourself and see which one you are. The first type are tradition-directed people. Now, they've been programmed by religion, tradition, and culture. They follow a tradition or a religion, and it's usually one that they were born into, and all their values are determined by that tradition rather than themselves. Do you follow a religion you were born into? The second are other-directed people. Now, these people have been programmed by their peers, friends, and what's popular. They're terrified of being seen as unpopular, and they do their best to keep up with the trends. They might even support causes they don't even care about, just so their friends will accept them. Do you care too much about what others think of you? And are you constantly worried about fitting in? Are your actions governed by the group rather than yourself? The third are inner-directed people, and they've been programmed by their parents. They follow the moral code and lessons their parent taught them and rarely deviate. They're obsessed with family, even if it's toxic or their lessons are harmful. Do you follow the lessons taught to you by your parents rather than thinking for yourself? The fourth are anomics, and this is a different type. You see, they've rejected society and the world, but the problem is they can't cope. And the weight of the world, it just feels like too much for them. They usually can't keep a job. They might become criminals, and they often fall into addiction. Finally, we have the autonomous. Now, the autonomous individual doesn't care what others think, or what religion tells them to do, or what their parents instilled in them. They've rejected the programming. These are the autonomous individuals that think for themselves and are able to make their own choices according to their own self-created values. They are strong, independent, highly motivated free thinkers. So if you want to know if you've been programmed, ask yourself, which are you? Be honest and tell me in the comments right now. But the good news is, even if you're one of the programmed types, you can break your programming. You can break that conditioning and become autonomous. We talked about the inversion, the point where the fake seems real and the real seems fake. Well, the truth is, this world is already inverted. Look around. You're blind if you can't see it. People are obsessed with fake conspiracies, fake celebrities, fake religions, fake freedom, while they hate what's true, they hate what's rational, and they hate what's real. They love what's fake. You just have to open your eyes, and you can see how backwards everything is, how inverted everything is. The sane are called insane, and the insane are called sane. It's an absolute madhouse here, and the inmates are running the asylum. We have a dead internet filled with fake accounts, and a dead planet filled with fake people. And just like a .io game, it might feel like you're around other people, but really, they're just following their programming. You're alone, but you don't have to be, because you found us. And we can transform this planet of the dead into a living planet. From an insane, divided, unconscious world into a sane, united, rational world filled with free thinkers. This is a world of the unreal, and I'm looking for the real. If you're ready to break your programming, or already started to, keep looking further. It goes so much deeper. Watch my other videos, and if you made it this far, make sure you like and subscribe to tell that damn mindless algorithm to spread this message like fire. If you enjoy my work, consider supporting on Patreon. You'll get access to our weekly secret live streams and a lot more. My name is Morgue, and I am Hyperion. Hail, New Terra.